1 Samuel 17-25, Proverbs 1, Psalm 43. Now the Philistines gathered their forces forward and assembled at Sokol and Jew. They pitched camp at Ephes Dam between Sokol and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the El and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with the valley between. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine. His height was 6 cubits in a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of bronze. Scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a reaver's rod, and his iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went on ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks, "Why did you come out to line up for battle? I may not have Philistine, and I know not the sons of Saul. Choose men and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, he will become your subjects. But if I overcome and kill him, he will become our subjects and serve us." And the Philistines said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man, let's fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. And David was the son of Ephrathah named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem, Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and Saul's time was very old. Jesse's 3 older sons followed Saul to the war. Firstborn was Eliam, second Abinadab, third Shammah. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul. David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Before the Philistine came forward from every morning and evening and took his stand. Now Jesse said to his son David, "Take this ephah of roasted grain, these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers, and hurry to the camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander that you know. See how your brothers are, and bring back some assurance from them." It was Saul and all the men in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines. Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out of the city's bound position, starting to walk up. He and the Philistines were drawing up their lines, facing each other. David left his things to keep us supplies ran to the battle and asked his brothers how they were. As they was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted use of defiance. And David heard it. Wherever the Israelites saw him, they all fled from him in great fear. And the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy us. The king will give great wealth to the man because he was to give him his daughter in marriage, and it will exempt his family from taxes and risk." David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills the Philistine and removes his disgrace from Israel? It is an uncircumcised Philistine, he should defy the armies of the living God." He repeated to him what they had been saying and told him this what would be done for the man who killed him. And yeah, David's older brother heard him speaking with him, and he burned with anger and asked, "Why have you come down there with him? And did he leave these to be sheep and lambs? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle. Now what have I done?" said David. Can't I even speak?" He then turned away to Saul and answered both the same man. The men asked him as before. What David said was overheard a report of Saul, and Saul said before. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine, so everyone will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You are not able to go against this Philistine and fight. You are only a young man. He has been a warrior from his youth." And David said to Saul, "Your son has been keeping his father's sheep. When the lion bear came up and carried off a sheep from the flock, went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth, and turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servants killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them. He is defied the armies of the living God. The Lord had rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, or rescued me from the hand of the Philistine." And the Lord said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." And Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to it. "I cannot go in these," he said to Saul, "because I am not used to it." So he took them off, and he took his staff in his hand, and chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with the sling in his hand approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine with the shield bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, "I am a head dog that you come with the sticks." And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David said to the Philistines, "You come against me, sword and spear and javelin. I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies, whom you have defied. This day the Lord deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down, cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals. The whole world will know that there is God in Israel. All those gathered here will know there is not by sword or spear the Lord says. My power is the Lord, he will give all of you into our hands." The Philistine moved closer to attack, and David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank to his forehead. He fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone without a sword in his hand. He struck the Philistine and killed it. So David ran straight over and took hold of the Philistine's sword and drew from his sheath. After he cut off his head with the sword. And the Philistines saw that the hero was dead. They turned around. And the men of Israel and Judah searched forward for the shout and pursued the Philistines to the entrance of Gath to the gates of Ekron. And there was strewn along Sharaim road to Gath and Ekron. And the Israelites attacked and chased the Philistines along the camp. David took the Philistines' head and rode it to Jerusalem. He put the Philistines' weapons in his own tent. Saul watched David going to meet the Philistines. He said to Abner, "Command the army." Abner, his son, said, Abner replied, "Surely as you live, your master, I don't know." The king said, "Why don't his son, this young man?" As soon as David returned from killing the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul. David holding his sword, and the Philistine said, "Whose son are you, young man?" Saul asked. David said, "I'm the son of your servant Jesse of Bethlehem." After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him and stuff. One day Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him and himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and his sword and his belt. his bow and his belt. Whatever mission Saul sent one, David was so successful that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. This pleased all the troops, Saul's officers as well. The man was returning home after David killed the Philistine. Women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul, singing and dancing with joyful songs and with timbrels and lyres. As they danced, they sang. Saul slain his thousand, and David his tens of thousands. Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They have credited David with tens of thousands, and he thought, but me with 100,000. I'm walking in yet but the king. And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. The next day, a spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand, he held it, saying unto himself, I'll pin David to the wall. David eluded him twice. Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with David, but apart from Saul. So he sent David away from him, and gave command of 1,000 men. And David led the troops in their campaigns, and everything he did, he had great success. His law was with him, and also how successful he was, David very faithful. Also in Judah loved David, because he led them in their campaigns. Saul said to David, Here's my older daughter Mary, I'll give her to you in marriage. And then serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord. But Saul said to himself, I'll not raise a hand against him, let the Philistines do that. And David said to Saul, Who am I, and what is my family and my clan is, that I should become the king's son-in-law? So when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel Mehol. And Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David, and they told Saul about it. Here's please, I'll give it to him. He thought, so she reached that to the land of the Philistines, maybe against him. And Saul said to David, Now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. And Saul ordered his attendant to speak to David privately, and said, Look, the king likes you, and his attendant will love you. Say, Now become a son-in-law. He repeated these words to David. David said, Do you think it's small matter to become the king's son-in-law? I'm only a poor man in the wilderness. Saul's servants told him what David had said. Saul replied, Say today, the king wants to know the price of the bride, the 100 Philistine foreskins, taking vengeance on enemies. So his plan was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. And the attendants told David these things, he was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So before a long time elapsed, David took his men with him and went out and killed 200 Philistines and brought back the foreskins. They had a full number, so the king said that David might become the king's son-in-law. And Saul came from his daughter Michal in marriage. And Saul reasoned the Lord was with David's daughter Michal loved David. So became still more afraid of him, and he remained the same the rest of his days. The visiting commands continued to grow as often as they did. David met with more success than the rest of Saul's officers, and then became well known. Saul's oldest son Jonathan ordered his attendants to kill David. Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Then you God tomorrow morning, go into hiding and stay there. I'll go out and stay with my father and feel where you are. I'll speak to him about you and tell him you are what I found out. Jonathan spoke well David to Saul's father and said, Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He's not wrong, yet what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life at his hands to kill the Philistine. The Lord has won a great victory for us, and you saw it in Proverb. Why then would you do wrong for an innocent man like David by killing for no reason? So listened Jonathan took this oath. As soon as the Lord this David would not be put to death. Then Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was with the Saul as before. Once more war broke out, and David fought and fought for the Philistines, strengthened now so such force they fell before. He was heard from the Lord came out and saw his singing house with spear and champ, while David was playing blind. So he tried to spin into the wall with spear. But David eluded him, and his sword drove the spear into the wall. And like David made good his escape. Saul summoned into David's house to watch and kill him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, one day if you do run for your life, tomorrow you'll be cursed. And Michal let David down through the wind. He fled and escaped, and Michal took an iron and laid it on the bed, covering it with a gun and putting some goats out of hay. And Saul sent the men to capture David. Michal said he is ill. And Saul sent the men back to see David and told them, Bring him up in his bed that may kill. When the men entered, they saw over the bed at the head was coming goats out. Saul said to Michal, Why did you deceive me like this? I met me always so that he escaped. Michal told me, he said to me, Let me go. Why should I kill you? And David had fled and escaped. Into Samuel and told me that Saul died and done to. And he and Samuel went to Nathan and stayed there. When they came to Saul, David was in Nathan Ramah, so he sent men to capture. They saw a group of prophets prophesying, and then Samuel standing there said later, Spirit of God came on Saul's men, they used to prophesy. Saul was told about it, he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a third time, they used to prophesy. Finally, the children left for Ramah and went to great sister and second. He asked where Samuel and David over to Nathan Ramah, they said. So Saul went to Nathan Ramah, but the Spirit of God came to around him. And he walked along prophesying until he came to Nathan. He stripped off his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. And he lay naked all that day and all that night. This is why people say Saul is so among the prophets. And David fled from Nathan Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, What have I done? What's my crime? Have I wronged your father? He's trying to kill me. Never, Jonathan replied. You are not going to know. Look, my father doesn't do anything great or small without letting me know. Why would he hide this from me? Isn't so? And David took an oath and said, Your father knows very well I found favor in your eyes. He said to himself, Jonathan must not know this, he will be grieved. Yet surely as the Lord lives and as you live, there is only a step between me and death. Jonathan said to David, Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you. So David said, Look, tomorrow is a new moon feast. I am supposed to dine with the king. Let me go and hide in the field until even the day after tomorrow. If father misses me at all, tell him. David earnestly asked my permission to hurry at Bethlehem his hometown, because an annual sacrifice will be made there for his whole clan. If he says very well, then your servant is safe. If he loses his temper, you can be sure that he is determined to harm me. As you show kindness to your servant, you brought him into a covenant with me before the Lord. If I am guilty, then kill me yourself. I hand me over to your father. Never, Jonathan said. If I had the least inkling that my father was determined to harm me, wouldn't I tell you? David asked, Who will tell me if your father answers you harsher? Come, Jonathan said, Let's go into Philistine. Went there together. Jonathan said to David, I swear by the Lord the God of Israel, I will surely stand over my father by this time the day after tomorrow. He is favorably disposed toward you. I will not say any word and let you know. If my father intends to harm me, may the Lord deal with Jonathan be ever so severely. And if I do not leave you now and send you away in peace, may the Lord be with you as he has been with my father, but show me unfailing kindness of the Lord's kindness as long as I live, so I may not be killed. And do not ever cut off your kindness from your family. You not everyone the Lord is cut off every one of David's enemies on the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. And Jonathan said to David, tomorrow's the new moon feast, you'll be missed, because your sea will be empty. The day after tomorrow, toward evening, when you go to the place you hit with the shoulder, and by a stone as I'll shoot 3 arrows to side of it. As though I was shooting at a target, I'll send the boys to go find the arrows. If I say to him, look, the arrows on the side, you bring them here, and come, because it shows the Lord is your safe, there's no danger. If you say to the boy, look, the arrows are beyond you, you must go, because the Lord has sent you away. And about the matter you and I discussed, remember the Lord's witness between you and me forever. Since David hid in the field, and the new moon feast came, the king sent down to you. He sat in his customary place by the wall, said Jonathan, even sat next to Saul. The David's place was empty. Saul said nothing to David, for he thought, if something was to happen to David to make ceremonially ugly, so he's ugly. The next day, the second day, David's place was empty again. Saul said to son Jonathan, why has the son Jesse come to me, or either yesterday or today? Jonathan asked, David earnestly asked for me for permission to go to Bethlehem. He said, let me go, because our families are serving a sacrifice in town, and my brothers ordered me to be there. If I ever found favor in your eyes, let me get away to see my brothers. And so he's not come to the king's table. So go flight about Jonathan and said, you son of a perverse and rebellious one, do not know that you have sided with the son of Jesse, you are in shame to shame your mother who bore you. As long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. And sent someone to bring him to me for this day. I shall be put to death. And what has he done? Jonathan asked his father. I saw how the spear aiming to kill him. Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. Jonathan got up from the table and faced David on the second day of the feast. He did not eat because it grieved his father's shameful treatment of David. In the morning, Jonathan went out into the field for his meeting with David. He had a small boy with him, and he said to the boy, run and find the arrows I shoot. As the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And the boy came to a place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen. Jonathan called out after him, isn't the arrow beyond you? Then he shouted, hurry, go quickly, don't stop. The boy picked up the arrow and turned to his master. And Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, go, carry them back to town. After the boy had gone, David got up from the south side of the stone and bowed down before Jonathan 3 times. They faced to the ground. They kissed each other and wept together. David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, go peace, will you sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord? Also, it is between you and me, and between your distance and my distance forever. Then David left, and Jonathan went back to the town. David went to Nob, to him like the priest, and him like tremble when he asked, why are you like? Why is Nob with you? David answered him like the priest. The king sent me on a mission, said to him, no one should know anything about the mission I'm sending you. As for men, I have told them to meet me at a certain place. No, then what do you have on hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread, or whatever you can find. The priest answered, I don't have any ordinary bread. However, there's some consecrated bread here, provided the men have kept themselves from wrong. David replied, indeed, women have been kept from us. As usual, whatever I said, the men's bodies are holy, even though missions are not holy. And much more so today. So the priest gave him the consecrated bread. Since there's no bread there, except the bread of the presence that had been removed from before the Lord and replaced by hot bread on the day it was taken away. Now one of Saul's sons was there that day to tame before the Lord. He was Doeg the Edomite, Saul's chief shepherd. David asked him, like, don't you have a spear or a sword here? I haven't brought my sword or any other weapon. If the king's mission was edge. As the priest replied, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, being good and valiant at last is here, wrapped in the cloths behind the effort. If you want to take it, there's no sword here but that one. David said, there's none like it, give it to me. That day David fled from Saul and went to Chish King Gad. The servants of Chish said to him, isn't this David the king of the land? Isn't he the one they sing about in dances? Saul was slain 1,000, David tens of thousands. So David took these words to heart and was very much afraid that Chish King Gad. So he pretended to be insane in their presence, and while he was in their hand, he acted like a madman, making marks on the doors of the gate and letting saliva run down his beard. The chief said to his servants, look at the man, he's insane. Why bring him to me? Am I so short of man that you have to bring this fellow here to carry on like this in front of me? Must this man come into my house? David left Gath and escaped to his cave of Adullam, and his brothers and his father's house were heard about. He went down to him there. All those who were in distress or in discontent to gather him. He became the commander, about 400 men with him. When David went to Mizpah and Moab, and said to King Moab, would you let my father and mother come and stay with you until I learn what God do to you? So he left them with King of Moab, and they stayed with him as long as David was in the stronghold. The prophet Gad said to David, do not stay in the stronghold, go into the land of Judah. So David went to the forest of Herai. And Saul heard that David's men had been discovered, and Saul stayed at hand to the Tamar's tree and the hill of Gibeah. With all his officials standing aside, he said to them, listen, men of Benjamin, the son of Jesse, give all of you foods and dinners. You make all of you commands in thousands and commands in hundreds. Is that why you have all conspired against him? No one tells me when my son makes a come with the son of Jesse. None of you are concerned about me or tells me that my son decided my servant to lie in wait for me as he does today. The Doeg the Edomite who was staying with Saul's officials said, I saw the son of Jesse come to him like son of Heat at Nob. Let him like inquired of the Lord for him. Here's a good provision, so did Goliath the Philistine. And the king sent for the priest to him like son of Heat all the men in his town. Who were the priest at Nob? They all came to King Saul said, listen now, son of Heat, less mad, Lord, he answered. So said to him, why have you conspired against you and the son of Jesse, giving him bread and sword and inquiring of God? So he rebelled against him, lies made for me as it does today. Him like Annas and the king, who of all your sons is as the Lord is dear. King's son, Lord, kept in your body, God, highly strict in your household. Was that day the first time I cried a golfer? Of course not. The king accused his servant when he was fast family. But his servant knows nothing at all about this whole thing. The king said, "You'll surely die him, like you and the whole family." And the king ordered the guards aside and killed the priest of the Lord. As they too sided with David, they knew who was falling, yet they did not tell. But the king's officials were unwilling to raise a hand to strike the priest of the Lord. The king then ordered Doeg, "You turn and strike down the priest." You turn and strike down the priest. And his dog, the Edomite tenant, struck them down. That day he killed 85 men who would lend effort. He used to put the sword in all the town of the priest. This man and his donkey, women, his children, infants, and cattle, donkeys. One son of him, like son of heat, his name would be Abiathar, and fled to join David. He told David that Saul had killed the priest of the Lord. And David said to Abiathar, that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, I knew he would be sure to tell Saul I was responsible for the death of the whole family. David, don't be afraid. The man who wants to kill you is trying to kill me too. You will be safe with me. And David was told, look, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and I look at you looting special force. He inquired the Lord, saying, shall I go and attack these Philistines? The Lord answered, go, attack the Philistines, save Keilah. Then David's men said, here in Judah we are afraid. How much more then if we go to Keilah against the Philistine forces? Once again David inquired the Lord, and the Lord answered, go down to Keilah, I am going to get the Philistines in Giant. Mary David's men went to Keilah, fought the Philistines, and carried off their livestock. He inflicted heavy loss on the Philistines, saved the people of Keilah. Now Saul was told that David had gone to Keilah, and he said, God has delivered me into my hands. And David imprisoned himself by entering the town with gates and bars. And Saul called up all his forces to go down to Keilah to seize David's men. When David learned that Saul was plotting against him, he said to Abiathar the priest, hearing the effort, David said, Lord God of Israel, your servant has said definitely that Saul plans to come to Keilah and destroy the town on account of me. Will the citizens of Keilah surrender me to me? Will Saul come down, as his servant has said, Lord God of Israel, tell you so? Then the Lord said, he will. And David answered, will the citizens of Keilah surrender me and my men to Saul? And the Lord said they will. So David's men, about 600 miles, but left Keilah and kept moving from place to place. And Saul saw that David had escaped from Keilah. He did not go there. David stayed in the wilderness of strongholds and in the hills of the desert. Day after day Saul searched for him. God did not give David into his hands. While David was at Horish in the desert, if he let that sword come out to take his life. And Saul's son Jonathan went to David at Horish and helped him find strength in God. Don't be afraid, he said. My father Saul not lay hand that you will be king over his. I will be second to you. He and my father Saul knows this, and two of them may come before the Lord. Me and Jonathan went home, but David remained at Horish. The Ziphites went to Saul at Gibeon and said, is not David hiding among us in the hill stronghold at Horish, on the hills of Hachilah, son of Joshua? Yeah, Mercy, come down wherever it pleases you to do so. We'll be responsible for giving him into your hands. So replied, the Lord bless you for your consent for me. Go and get more information. Find out where David usually goes and who's seeing him there. You tell me he's very crafty. And just find out about all the hiding places he uses and come back to me with definite information. I'll go with you. If he's in there, I'll strike him down among all kinds of you. So they started went as if ahead of Saul, and David's men were in the desert map. In the Arabah south of Jeshurun, Saul's men began to search. And David saw about it. He went out to the rock and stayed in the desert map. And Saul heard this. He went into the desert mountain and pursued David. Saul was going along one side of the mountain. David's men were on the other side, trying to get away from Saul. Saul's force was closing on David. There's an interception. A messenger came to Saul saying, come quickly. The Philistines are raiding the line. And Saul broke up to pursue David and went to meet the Philistines. That's why they call this place Hamalekov. And David went out from there and lived in the strongholds of En-Gedi. After Saul had returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in the desert En-Gedi. So Saul took 3,000 able young men from wars and set out to look for David and near the crags of the wild goats, even to sheep pens along with the cave was there. Saul went into a lead himself. David's men were fall back from the cave. The man said, this is the day the Lord spoke with which when he said to you, I will give your enemy to your hand for you to deal with it as you wish. And he crept up unnoticed, covered corner Saul's room. After David was conscience stricken for having cut off a corner's room. He said to his men, Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master. Lord said, let my hand in. If you see no one tell the Lord. With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, my lord the king. And Saul looked behind him. David bowed down and prostrated himself to face David. He said to Saul, why do you this when the men said, David's been unharmed me? This day you seem to recognize how the Lord delivered you into my hands and cave. Some urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I'll not lay my hand on my Lord. This is the Lord's honor. See, my father, look at the piece of robe in your hand. I cut off the corner of your robe and did not kill you. See that there is nothing in my hand to indicate that I am guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. May the Lord judge between you and me. May the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me. My hand will not touch you. As all the same goes, from evil doers come evil doers, so my hand will not touch you. When Tim the king is come out, whom are you considering a dead dog or free? May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. May you consider my cause not upon me, vindicate me by delivering me from your hand. When David finished saying this, Saul asked, is that your voice, David, my son? He rushed out. You are more righteous than I. He said, you treated me well, but I treated you bad. You have just not told me about the good you did to me. Not to live into your house, you did not kill me. When a man finds his enemy, does he let him go away unharmed? His Lord reward you well for the way you treat me today. Whether you shall be king, the king will be established in your hands. And so to you by the Lord, you will not cut off my son to wipe out my name from my father's home. But David gave his earth to Saul, and Saul returned home. David's men went up to his stronghold. Then Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and made for him. They burned it. and they buried him and turned around. But David moved in and lived as a power. There's a man in Mount who property there. Connor was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep who was sharing Connor. His name was Neil. His wife's name was Madiga. He was an excellent and beautiful woman, but her husband was surly and mean as doing. He was a killer. When David was in the wilderness, he heard that Neil was sharing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to him, Go up to Neil, Connor, and greet my man. Say to him, Long life to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all those days. When he heard his sheep sharing time, when the shepherds were with us, they did not mistreat them. The whole time they were calm and nothing like this. Last year in sons, they'll tell you, therefore will be favorable to all women. Since you come at a festive time, let us give your sons to some day, whatever you can find for them. Then David and the rock, they gave Nabal this message in David's name. Then they waited. Nabal answered David's servants, Who's this David? Who's the son of Jesse? He is sent to break away from the master these days. Why should I take my bread and water and meet thy sword from my shears and give it to men come down from who knows where? David and his men turned around and went back. They arrived, they reported everywhere. David said to his men, Each you sharpen your sword, so they did. David sharpened his sword on his sword. About 400 men went out with David, and 200 stayed with his surprise. On 7 struck Abigail, Nabal's wife. David sent messages from the wilderness to give him a Boston's greetings, but he heard insults to them. Yet these men were very good. They had not mistreated the whole time we were out in the fields with them. Nothing was missing. And then day they were war runs the whole time we were heading our sheep. Nothing could ever see what you can do because disasters hang over our master's whole house. He's such a wicked man that no one could talk to. Abigail acted quickly. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 sheets of roasted grain, 100 cakes of bread, and 200 cakes of crushed figs. They loaded them on donkeys. She told herself, Go on ahead, I'll follow you. She did not tell her husband Nabal. And as she came riding a donkey to the mountain, the David's men descended toward him, and she met them. David just said, It's been useless. All my watching of this fellow's property was nothing of his was missing. He's fearing back you for good, and they'll deal with David. Be it ever since by morning, and leave alive one man with all who belong to him. And when Abigail saw David, she quickly got off a donkey and bowed down before David with a face to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, Pardon your son, man. Let me see to you. Hear what your son has to say. Please pay me attention, my lord, to the wicked man Nabal. He is just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes with it. As for me, your servant, I did not see the man that my lord said. And now, my lord, surely the Lord your God lives, as you live, since the Lord has kept you from bloodshed, and from avenging yourself with your own hand. May your enemies and all who intend on harm my lord be like Nabal. Let this gift which your servant has brought to my lord be given to many follow you. He should give you so much of assumption, the Lord your God will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my lord. As you fight the blood vows, and no wrongdoing we find these long as you live. Even while though someone is pursuing to take your life, the life of my lord will be banned, killing and bundle of living. My lord your God, with the lives of the enemies he'll hurl away from the pocket of slain. The Lord is filled for my lord every good thing promised concerning him is upon him, the Lord of Israel. I will not have on his conscience the stirring of blood needless bloodshed, or of having avenged himself. When the Lord your God has brought my Lord success, remember me so. David said to Abigail, Praise be to the Lord the God who has sent you today to me. May he be blessed for your good judgment and for keeping him from bloodshed this day, and for avenging myself with my own hands. Otherwise, I surely have kept as the Lord the God of Israel lives, who has kept me from harming me. If he had not come quickly to me, not one that belonged to Neil would have been left alive by daybreak. And David stepped from my hand, and she had brought him and said, Go home in peace. I have heard your words and grant me request. And Abigail went to Neil, as he was in the house holding a banquet like that of the king. He was in high spirits and very jealous. She told him nothing at all until daybreak. And in the morning, when Neil was sorry, but his wife told him all these things. As I felt him, he became less to. And 10 days later, the Lord struck Neil when he died. And David heard that Nabal was dead. He said, Praise be to the Lord, who has upheld my faith against Nabal, retrieving me to contempt. He has kept his servants from doing all this, brought Nabal's wrongdoing down on his own head. And David sent word to Abigail, asking her to become his wife. His servants went calm and said to Abigail, David sent to you to take you to become his wife. She bowed down with a face to the ground and said, I am your servant, I am ready to serve you, and worship you, my Lord said. Abigail quickly got on a donkey and, attended by 5 female servants, went with David. Went with David's messenger to his wife. David was married, he and Jesse, and they were both his wives, and Saul and had given his son Michael Davis was alive to pass his son of life. She was from God. Proverbs 1. The heralds of Solomon, son of David, King Israel, took gaining wisdom instruction to understand words and so receive instruction by him with right and justified. By giving principles and simply knowledge and scripture to you, with the wise listening and to learning, discerning, getting guidance, and understanding. Fear the Lord beginning knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. For this is my son, and do father's instruction, and don't forget your mother's teaching. They go on to grace and change to joy, concern simple men touch you don't give it. If they say, Come on with this, let us fire and faithful and simple. They say, ambition, harm us, so let us hold them life and go. And like good to go down to pay. We'll get all sorts of valuable things, fill the house with plunder. Cast lots of fear, so all shedly. Son, don't go along. Don't set foot in their paths, for the fear unto you when they swear to shepherd. They should spread and every bird could see these men lying on the ground, but they ambush and lead themselves. Such are the paths all who go after ill gotten gain takes the life of those who good. And the open wisdom calls now. She raises her wisdom up to the top of the wall, she cries out. And see again, she makes a speech. How long will you who simple love you simple ways? How long will mockers delight mockery and fools hate knowledge? Repent my rebuke. I'll pour my thoughts to you. I'll make them into my teaching. And if you refuse to listen, I call. No one pays attention to stretch my hand. It's you to disregard all my advice, no, so my rebuke. I in time will laugh when disaster strikes you. A mocking calamity overtakes you, and calamity overtakes like a storm. And disaster straight over you like a whirlwind. Distress and trouble overwhelm me. He'll call to me, but I'll not answer. Look for me, but will not find. His If they hate knowledge and do not choose faithless, they will not accept my respect and my reproof. No, eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with fruit of their skins. The waywardness and simple will kill them, capacity falls straight. Whoever listens to me will live in safety will be eased without fear of harm. Psalm 43. Vindicate me, my God, plead my cause against an unfaithful nation. Rescue me from those who deceive me. He, O God, my stronghold, why have you rejected me? Why must I go about many oppressed by the enemy? Send me a light and faithful care. Let them bring me to your holy mountain, to the place where you dwell. I will go to altar to God, my joy and my delight. I praise you with a lie, O God, my God. Why am I slightly downcast? Why so disturbed within me? We hope in God, if I yet praise my Saviour and my God.